I mean, for that time that I'm working on that piece, whether, it takes 1,000 hours, it takes 500 hours, literally they get every part of my body.
And you have structured your life so you can have that time to paint. I mean, there's no phone on. You're in that studio, and you might start at 7 in the morning your time, and it might be a day and a half later, and you got a little portion of the painting done. You go, all right, that little section's done, I'm going to bed. You wake up 8 hours later, and it's...
Pretty well. I mean, you literally just eat, sleep, and breathe the whole process. I do a lot of reading, I must admit. I've got a big library at home, and so I will study natural history and science when I go to bed at night. I mean, I love the aspect of obtaining knowledge now. And it really does, I think, reflect in the work that I do. But it really does. I mean, if I'm not traveling, I'm simply painting.
So, and you have traveled the world 6 times over?
16 times.
16 times over. If there is someone out there, they might be a college student, they might be 18, they might be just retired, they might be 67 years old. If someone asked you point blank, the first thing that comes to your mind, if they said to you, there's an American and he's never left the country, and he can go one place, where would you say go?
Probably Africa.
Africa. First thing comes in your mind.
Probably Africa.
And that is just because why?
Yeah, I mean, you go to Africa and it's primordial. You literally can drive out to the Masai Mara or the Serengeti or Zamburu or the Okavango, and you literally see the world as it was 100,000 years ago.
And
there are other places, but the only other place that you could really do that as well is areas like the top of Siberia and Alaska, where you can go to areas and there's no fences, there's no roads, there's nothing except the animals in the way that they were centuries ago. And I think that's fascinating. It's just amazing to see. And I'm glad that those places are still there. I mean, we simply need to stay away from a lot of them. Preserve them for what they are, and thank goodness for America for starting national parks for a start. But we really need to look after our planet a little bit better.
Well, it's funny because a year and a half ago I took the whole summer off, and I got all the way up, went through all of Europe, but I also got all the way up to Yellowknife and Whitehorse in the Yukon.
Right up the top of Canada.
Yeah, and the one thing that you were talking about at dinner to my wife, and the thing that I can't imagine, and that's why I go to the desert in Nevada, is, you get a couple 100 miles, 300 miles outside of a city, and you get out of your car, turn every light off, and you look up, and it's like...
It's amazing, isn't it?
When you live in Los Angeles or you don't see that.
Yeah.
And when it's been a while and you look up and you're in the most remote, you're 475 miles from Whitehorse, which means there's not another person around.
Yeah.
You look up, that's about as clear as it's ever going to get.
Yeah, I mean, in the islands, when I've been out on the boat, obviously because there's simply no pollution out there, you really do see the whiteness of the Milky Way. You can see the center of the galaxy. Whereas generally, if you're within the city and a lot of places where there's pollution, you just don't see that. But the middle of the galaxy actually is white.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing. It really is.
So many stars, it's milk.
It's incredible.
Tell me about this piece, because this is a very large piece, and this is one of the paintings demonstrating your knowledge that there is a supreme being.
Yeah, once again, it's a moment in time. That's really what it represents to me. If you've ever been out, and actually this was an American scene as well. This was actually seen and worked on up in Oregon, and just looking at the forests and being in the forests, and then just noticing a moment. And it doesn't have to be big at all. I mean, I can remember when I was in New York a number of years ago, and I was walking down the main street, and I saw a little blade of grass with a flower attached to it in the middle of the New York street. And I just looked at it and I thought, that's amazing. I mean, life continues to struggle on in any sense, even in the middle of one of the busiest city in the world. There's this little flower in the middle of the road. I thought, that's incredible. And that's really what that represents. It's a moment in time. You look at it, and then there's that representation of, obviously, God watching over.
Well, and there are 4 or 5 of those, and your way of showing God looking over is with the O, the fire, the
circle of fire, yeah, the ring of fire. I mean, you can't. I mean, our interpretation is generally of what we see in the Sistine Chapel, reaching out to Adam. But do we know that that's the case? So and as far as I know, and as far as what I've been told, God is fire.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's represented.
Well, Graeme, I am just overwhelmed. You know, between the two appearances, you've been on live TV for over an hour. And it's but before you leave, look, we're going to get the family down. We're going to,
be great.
You keep me from getting
Bitten by a
poison
snake, bitten by a crocodile.
Last night we were asking him at dinner, and he says, now, Barry, if you're out there, say a mile, I swim in the Pacific Ocean. And occasionally, like a dolphin will come up, and you'll know it's a dolphin. I'll be on that beach so fast you get to. I was in Hawaii, and I saw a big turtle come at me. And I did not know they were friendly. I pulled a mussel running. I didn't know they eat vegetables. I thought that was a man-eating turtle. But he was telling me, he goes, now, if you do see a shark, a bull shark, in Australia, what you want to do, because they can, you see this arch, and they can go 60 miles an hour in the water, you want to go underneath, free dive, and look up. And like, that ain't going to happen with me. I'm just going to go, if you want me, take me. So if we get out there, you can protect me from getting eaten by a shark, poison snake, dart from an avenue. We've
got a lot of practical people down there that can take you, don't worry. It'll be fine. As I said, in Australia, because of the nature of the country, we're quite aware of it when we're young. So it's really part of us growing up in a country like that.
And I will take you through downtown, South Central, anytime. We'll navigate through. That's our danger sometimes here.
Sounds great.
But in a serious note, we could not have completed Masters Month without a great master of surrealism like yourself.
Thank you.
And I hope that our staff and beyond, Greg and Liz and everybody here, we hope, A, you've had a great time, and B, that you'll come back and join us next time you're in the States.
Absolutely, mate.
And our house is your house.
It's tremendous, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Graeme Stevenson.